the Wise Owl Knits Fibercast. Today is Sunday, March the 26th. It's the day before Memorial Day here in the United States, and in Indianapolis, where I live, it's better known as Race Day. Today is the day of the Indianapolis 500, and we just had a big thunderstorm roll through. I think it's still sprinkling a little bit. I live on the northeast side of town, and the racetrack is on the west side of town, so it always gets the rain a little before us and then stops a little bit before us too. So they probably are starting to dry off the track now, and that is at least an hour and 20-minute process, but depending on how much rain came down, it could be a longer process than that. So maybe the race will happen today, maybe it will happen tomorrow. We've got our fingers crossed that it will happen today and we can have a new 500 champion, hopefully Elio Castroneves for a 5th win. But whoever wins, congratulations to them. So because of that, I'm taking this opportunity, rain delay, to record a podcast. I am really woefully behind on podcast. I should have done it about 2 weeks ago, and life has just gotten really busy lately. I've got several design projects that I'm working on, and I just haven't found a chunk of time. We did some traveling too, so I haven't found a chunk of time to record and to edit. So I'm doing that today because I can't watch the race right now. And I couldn't watch the race anyway. I could only listen to it. It's always blacked out here in Indianapolis. So we can watch it later on tonight if you don't go and watch it live. And many people do that. Even people that go to the race come home and watch it on TV after, because it's such a massive place that you can't see everything anyway unless you've got one of the very, very best way high up seats. So hopefully the race will go off without a hitch once they get the track dried before another round of storms comes through, and we'll have a new winner. I came back to add this. The race did happen today. It started at 4:45 and they got the whole race in, and because of the delay they showed it on TV, which was nice. The winner was Joseph Newgarden. He is an American and he won last year too, so 2 years in a row for him. Congrats, Joseph. Okay, well, let's move on past the racing and I'll tell you what I've been working on. I have been making a few stuffies. I did this hammerhead shark called Hammy, and I showed that to you last time. This pattern will be coming out on June the 1st. So watch for that. This is a great pattern for Shark Week, and Shark Week is July 7th through the 14th. That is sponsored by Politically Incorrect Knitters and a whole host of other yarny businesses and podcasters, including me. So you'll be hearing a lot about that. If you, the whole premise of the challenge is you declare what you're going to knit. You knit from July 7th to July 14th. If by July 14th you haven't finished your project, you have to rip it out. So this is a doable project in a week. It's a doable project in less than a week if you've got a lot of time, but definitely a doable project in a week. So a good thing for you to do for the Shark Week Challenge, and because it's a shark related project, I think it will get you extra points. You'll have to keep an eye out on my Instagram or any of the other sponsors, and especially the Politically Incorrect Knitters watch their podcast for all the rules and regulations. I'll let them get into all of that and keep track of all of that. But the hammy pattern out on Friday, June 1st. I've also been working on and completed one, working on another cute little owl. This owl is knit from the bottom up, and the body and head are all in one piece, and then the wings and the eyes and nose were added separately, knit separately and sewn on. I've kept good track of my notes and written everything down, so I will have a pattern out for this little owl shortly. That shouldn't take too long. I'll have to get it written up and looking pretty and off to the tech editor, and then can put that up for sale too. I am trying to think of a name for the little owl. I know I have mentioned before that my business name is kind of named after my mother, who taught me to knit, and her last name was Wise, which is where I get the Wise, part of the Wise Owl Knits. We've got lots of owls in our backyard. Not lots, but we've got an owl family in our backyard. So that's where the owl part comes from. So I've been wanting to write a little owl pattern for some time now, and I've got that almost finished now. If you guys have any suggestions for names for the owl, put those in the comments. I would love to hear those. I'm thinking it might be Jeannie, because that was my mom's name. Her first name was Iris, but she didn't really care for that, so I don't think I'll call it Iris. Though I kind of like that name. Anyway, let me know what you think. This is knit in Nature Spun, and I think it would be considered a DK weight yarn. It's 100 grams, 245 yards. The color on this is stone, and it's really, you know, kind of a heathery brown. The eyes and the nose are both out of Cascade 220. So worsted weight or DK weight. As with any stuffy, you can really knit it in any weight that you want. It's just going to come out a different size. If you do it in fingering weight, it will be much smaller than this. If you do it in bulky, it will be larger than this. So, kind of fun patterns that you can make your own. I think I'm going to, on my next owl, try and make the eyes looking either to the left or right or up or down, depending on how you sew them on. Could even make it cross-eyed. But I probably will do that with some short rows in the white part of the eye. The wings also, they're garter stitch, but they've got short rows in it, and that gives it a little curve and makes the wing rounded on each side. So let me know what you think as far as a name. Always open for suggestions on that. I did, when I made the owl and stuffed it, I've always used just fiber fill on my sharks, but I did put some weighted beads at the bottom of the owl so that he will sit up. So, or she, it might be a she. If it's named Jean, it will be a she. I guess it could be a he or a she, but I would do the female Jean, Jean. I am making a second owl out of this light blue DK. So just at the bottom of the body right now before the head. And this one I'm making out of Skeins Vintage, and this is a DK weight also. Skeins, New Zealand. So working or finished those two things. I'm also working on a Cozy Memories blanket, and I have not done too much more since the last time you saw it, but I'm doing 4x4 squares, so 16 little squares in a bigger block. and I am using fingering weight yarn for that, and mostly leftovers from socks that I make on my circular sock machine, or leftovers from previous socks that I hand knitted, or projects. It could be projects like my Stars and Stripes shawl that I'm wearing that I had extras on too. So those are fingering weight, or I've actually used some really light sport weight yarns on that too. As long as you can get the gauge, then it's pretty forgiving. I've only got one block that is totally finished, and I am alternating solid squares with patterned squares. Though the squares are so small, you don't get a lot of the pattern on each square. So some have a lot of color variation, others not so much. But when it all comes together, I don't think there will be so much that it will just become a neutral, is really kind of what I'm thinking. The only other thing that I've been working on that I can tell you about right now is another pair of socks from my circular sock machine. And these are for Monsignor Tony. He wears size 13. They're kind of big. I did make some size 14s. They were really big. And this is the second sock. It is inside out right now because I am Kitchenering up the toe. And on these socks on the circular sock machine, when you Kitchener, you do it, or you don't have to do it inside out, but I find it much easier to do inside out, and you just do it along this edge where the waste yarn is. Each project starts with waste yarn and ends with waste yarn. So those are my socks on the circular sock machine. I have kind of slowed down on that a bit. For a while I was just making socks fast and furiously, and I've slowed down a little bit, but I want to make sure that I do at least a little bit, at least one sock or a pair of socks a week, because I don't want to lose the muscle memory that I built up as I was making lots and lots of socks. I want it to be something that I can go to quick and easy and whip out a pair of socks if I need them. So that's my idea. I still have not learned how to use the ribber, and I'm gonna wait until the next time my husband is gone for a weekend or a few days, because I do best on things like that, learning if I can just be by myself and hammer it out and not have somebody asking me questions or giving me suggestions all the time. I just learn better by doing, and by doing it by myself. So that's what I'm planning on doing. I should mention what I'm wearing. This is the Stars and Stripes shawl. It is a circular shawl. Not a circular. It is a triangular shawl. The Stars and Stripes. And it is knit in, it is knit in fingering weight yarn. I was not sure if it was fingering or sport, but I'm pretty sure it is fingering weight yarn. And this pattern is available on my website and on Ravelry, probably on Love Knitting also. So hop on over there if you'd like to make a patriotic shawl, or you don't have to make it in red, white, and blue. You can make it in any color you'd like. So if you've got 3 colors that you want to use for a triangular shawl that's kind of a mix of lace, 2 different lace patterns, and garter stitch. The lace is all easy lace. It's not anything that's very complicated at all, so pretty much anybody from beginner level on up has the skills to make this shawl. And if you don't and you need to ask me a question, I'm always available too. You can, if you have questions on any of my patterns, just either message me on Instagram or send me an email at cheryl@wiseowlknits.com. I'm happy to answer your questions at any time. I may not answer immediately, but I almost always answer within a day, and sometimes a lot quicker than that. So if there's anything you're wondering, just ask. Okay, I'm going to try that one more time. I don't know if you saw the owl on the wall behind me. That was made by my friend Lance, and he's a woodworking artist. His wife is a just wonderful weaver, and I'm going to link both of their Instagrams below because they both have so much talent and just always happy to share their projects. You've probably seen me share both of them on Instagram in the past, but I just love my owl logo that Lance made me, and I wanted to share that with you. Also, I want to thank all of you. I have gotten to 500 subscribers, and I've also been podcasting for 1 year. The 1 year was actually in April, and shortly after that I got to 500 subscribers, so I want to thank you all for that. And to thank you, I'm going to give away a prize. So if you want to leave me a message in the comments and tell me how long you have been knitting or crocheting, and then I'll do a random number generator and we'll get a prize off to the winner. I'll let you know on my next podcast who the winner is. So leave your comments below, and thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and that's my way of showing appreciation, by giving a prize. The last thing I want to talk about today is artificial intelligence. I know you've all heard of it. It's been in the news a lot lately, and just kind of wondering what your thoughts on it are. I have had a bit of reluctance about it. You know, you hear the commentators that tell us how dangerous it is, how it might push us into wars, it might take over things that we don't want it to take over. And then you also hear the other side where it can help us do some mundane task or make us better at what we do by using this as a tool. And just kind of wondering your thoughts. I've played around with it a little bit. I asked it to write a hat pattern, and I gave it some parameters like the size of yarn that I was using, the gauge, the stitch pattern that I wanted, and it did write a pattern. It wasn't exactly how I would write it, but it did write a pattern. And I have been talking to my son, who's using it a little bit for some coding work and is trying to perhaps get it to the point where it can really do some good coding for him. And you know, that's all something that, you know, I know what it is, obviously, but I don't know how all that works or if that's a good thing or a bad thing either. But I thought I might be able to use it to do some of the tasks that I don't enjoy as much, or that take a lot of time that I could be using for more design-oriented work. One of those things is drawing schematics and labeling them with all the different sizes, or figuring yarn requirements for the different sizes, or maybe even grading a pattern. So I'm just in the very infant stages of testing some of that and doing little things once in a while. I have only been playing around with the free version of ChatGPT, and in just playing around with it, my son had suggested that I upload pictures or upload patterns that I have already done so that ChatGPT can learn my style. But on the free version, you can only upload a small amount of files, and I quickly hit that limit, so I don't know if I'm going to pay for it. It's not super expensive. It's like $20 a month, I think, to subscribe. And that's what he told me, so I'm assuming that that's correct, but that may not be quite right either. But anyway, I think I will just mess around with it, think of it as a tool, and see if I can get it to work for me, just to save me a little time, or make my products just a little bit better by using a tool that can maybe perfect some things that I haven't perfected. Let me know what you think about that. Is it totally scary to you? Do you think it's wrong to use? Do you think it's a tool? Just what are your thoughts? So that is what I have for you today. I'm sorry I was gone for so long. I meant to try and do this every 2 weeks, and that is still my goal, though sometimes I won't make that goal just because of other things going on in my life. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, come back again. Check out my website at wiseowlknits.com. And then if you have any questions or comments that you'd like to get to me directly, you can send me a message on Instagram or email me at cheryl@wiseowlknits.com. Thanks again, knitters. I hope to see you all soon. Bye.